Well, welcome to the Manning Park Amphitheater. My name is Josh, and I will be your interpreter for this evening. First things first, before we start, I want to recognize that we are on the unceded territory of the Endaklatma First Nations. This land and the surrounding area has been used by multiple different First Nations groups for thousands of years for hunting as well as fishing and trading, very significant trading routes. So it's important that we consider these things and walk with respect on the land and towards the people that have been here for a very long time. Secondly, I want to mention our sponsors. We're funded by the Skagit Environmental Endowment Commission, as well as Hope Mountain Center, Manning Park Resort, and generous visitor donations as well. These just go towards helping us make props and putting together our programs, making sure we can continue to do them. So if you do feel like you want to donate tonight, we have a donation bin at the back. You're more than welcome to do that. You may be wondering what these lanterns here are doing. These are some pretty fancy lanterns. They are for our Lantern Festival tomorrow. So I'll mention it again at the end and give you a few more details. But tomorrow, if you want to make a lantern, tomorrow 10 to 3 is when we're making them, and we're launching them at 9:30 sharp tomorrow. But I will give you more details about that at the end. All right, so I wanted to ask everybody a few questions. One of those is, what is everyone's favorite animal? See your hand right there? Warthog. Good, good. At the back?
Monkey.
Monkey, good animal. Anyone else? Birthday girl right there?
Cat.
Cat, good choice. And you right there? Hey, there's a deer right there. That's cool. What a neat guest to our deer program tonight. Maybe that's Duncan, I don't know. Duncan the deer. Fantastic.
Duncan the deer.
All right, does anyone else have any animals that they just love? And right there. A deer, very good answer. And we'll have 2 more. I see 2 hands there. I'll let you at the back first.
Really?
Yes.
Wait, does it have to be a real animal?
Not necessarily.
Godzilla.
Godzilla, good animal, and right there in the middle. Hummingbird, very good animal. All right, so we have a few different animals, lots and lots of good choices. Now, I only heard 1 deer, and that didn't surprise me. That's kind of what I was expecting, because deer, well, they're neat. Deer are pretty cool. We saw one, we all looked around, but they don't have the big teeth that wolves do, or the cool tusks like the warthogs do, and all sorts of things, so deer aren't necessarily at the top of people's list. And I think that's because they're just a bunch of scaredy cats. You walk down a path, you see one, it just runs away. That one there, it just ran away when we all looked at it. They're just always so scared. But that kind of made me think. Oh, I should pick up my paper. That made me think. I imagine that being a deer would be pretty stressful at times. You got predators out there, hunters, all sorts of cars on roads, lots of things that you're constantly looking over your shoulder for. So that got me thinking, what's it like being a deer? In all honesty, I don't really know anything about animals, so sorry that you got me tonight. I'm just out here enjoying the scenery. However, I have a friend he's a doctor, and I hear that he can even talk to animals. So I had an idea that maybe we could all pay him a visit. Was anyone interested in that? Yes? Okay, fantastic. Well, I'm going to go get him, and you can all wait here. Next time you see him, he'll be in his office.
It's Duncan the deer. I'm glad I came. What did you just call it out? I'm like
My name is Dr. Dolots, and I talk to animals. Welcome to my office here. I talk to animals about all sorts of things that are bugging them. This could be a broken bone, maybe a conflict with a friend, or maybe it's just bugs that are bugging them. Anyways, I thought that maybe you could all join me. I have a new client coming in today, and maybe you'd like to watch and see how I do things around here. But first I wanted to tell you something that happened this morning. Oh, it was so silly. I was driving along the road on my way to work, and on the side of the street, there was a deer. And I didn't do anything, I didn't honk, I didn't even wave. I just drove by, and that deer must have jumped 8 feet in the air. It was terrified. Oh boy, that deer needs to talk to somebody. Hello?
Hello? Dr. Dolots? Are you there?
Yes?
I think I have an appointment with you. This is Duncan, the deer.
It's the same deer.
Duncan the deer.
Yes, Duncan, you can come right in.
Yeah, that's kind of the problem. I'm scared. Are there any wolves in there? Hunters? Is this a trap? Because I've been in one before, and I didn't like it.
No, Duncan, I can assure you I don't keep wolves in my office. It's safe to come in.
Well, this is a little embarrassing to ask, but, can you carry me?
Okay, haven't had that request before, but that's okay, Duncan. I'll be right out there to carry you in.
Oh, thanks, Dr. Dolots. That's just great.
All right, let's get you situated over here, Duncan. There we go. I'm just gonna grab myself a seat, Duncan. I'll be right with you. There we go. Maybe even a drink of water before I start. Dr. Dolots gets thirsty sometimes, you know. All right. You all good there? Duncan, you feel nice and comfortable? Well, what brings you in here this morning, or this evening, I guess, Duncan? What's the situation?
Well, you see, I'm always scared. I'm always looking over my shoulder, thinking that maybe I might get eaten by a cougar, shot by a hunter. Oh boy, it's so terrifying.
Well, interesting. How does that make you feel, Duncan?
Weak, incapable. I just feel like every time I'm looking over my shoulder, it's a stressful life, you see.
Okay. That must be really difficult. I'm really sorry that you have to go through that every day. Well, you know what? I think that we can look at this a little bit differently. You may be a deer, you may have predators, hunters, but you have a lot of adaptations and things that help you overcome those challenges.
I'm not so sure about that, Dr. Dolots.
Okay, well, you know what? I think that we can prove it to you. Do you think that we can prove to Duncan that deer are pretty cool? Yeah?
All right. Okay. I guess so.
All right, well, let's get started, Duncan. You see, Duncan here is a mule deer, one of the different deer species we have here in Canada. We also have others in the deer family. On the top left, we have the caribou, kind of northern BC as well as northern Canada. There's some. On the top right, we have elk. Possibly you could see some of those around here. Bottom right, we have the white-tailed deer. That is out in eastern Canada, not around here. And in the bottom left, that is the moose. That's the biggest of the deer family, and you could possibly see one of those here in Manning Park. I have seen some tracks, and I've heard some people that have seen them, so they're around. And just fun fact, top left, that caribou, that's the same animal that's on our 25-cent quarter in Canada. So very, very cool. Like I said, Duncan is a mule deer, and there's some special characteristics of mule deer that you can look out for. One of those things is their antlers. This is different than the white-tailed deer because these antlers are bifurcated, and that means that they split like this, and then they grow, and then they split again, just like that. A white-tailed deer has one main antler and then a bunch of little shoots off of it. So that's how you can tell the difference from their antlers. You can also see a few other things. The males will often have this big dark patch in between the eyes. You can see that on Duncan there. Black-tipped tail is unique, different than the white-tailed deer, of course, since it's black-tailed. And then those huge ears that you might be able to notice. That's actually how the deer gets its name, the mule deer, because it has big ears like a mule. These deer can weigh quite a bit, up to 210 pounds. That's for the males, the bucks. And for the does, or the females, they can weigh up to 140 pounds. So that's pretty significant, seeing as that's the weight of some black bears. So pretty big. There's a few subspecies as well of these deer. Those tend to be smaller. We have the Sitka black-tailed deer on the northern coast of BC, and then the Columbian black-tailed deer that's on the west coast, southern west coast, and Vancouver Island. Those tend to be a bit smaller. This subspecies that Duncan is the Rocky Mountain mule deer. That's what we have around here. See, Duncan, you have so many family and friends all around you to help you in these times of trouble when you're all scared and everything.
Yeah, I guess that's right. But that doesn't do anything about the predator problem or how weak I am.
Okay, that's a fair point. Well, why don't we talk more specifically about your adaptations? Like maybe your eyes and your ears. Those are pretty cool.
Okay.
All right. So deer, they have different eyes than we do. Our pupils are very circular, and as you can see in this photo, this deer is kind of like it has an eye like a slit, a line or something. It's horizontal, and that enables it to have a wider field of view. I can see farther around it, and we'll get to that in a second. Another very special thing about this is that they actually have self-leveling eyeballs. So our eyeballs, they turn in a different way than these deer. We can look to the left and the right, up and down. And deer, their eyes actually turn like this. So as they are going down, they can see like this around them, right? Here are their eye slits. And then they go down to eat something, and their eyes remain the same. They're always parallel with the ground. So even when their head is down in the plants, it can see all the way around it. So very special adaptation. Not all the way around it, we'll discuss that. It's not 360, but pretty darn close. So, speaking of field of view, I have a little demonstration to see just how far around humans can see. So do I have a volunteer from the audience? Let's see, I got a few hands. At the very back, in the shirt, right at the back. All right, thank you for volunteering. You got to be pretty brave though, because I have a cougar up front. Okay, so it's a little scary. And you can just stand right here and face the forest right there. All right, so right here I have this cougar, represents a predator, and I'm going to put this behind your head, okay? And slowly bring it around the side, and you keep your eyes forwards. But right when you see even a tip of it at the back, you're going to say something. You're going to say you see it, okay? Or you can give it a little scream if you'd like, but that's up to you. All right, I'm coming around. You see it? Okay, good. All right, now spin around the other way. Or that way. Let's do the other side here. All right. You see it? Okay. Thank you very much. You're very brave. You can take a seat. Round of applause. And now, at the end, you can come and get a prize for helping out, all right? So if I forget, you remind me and come down. Okay, so as you can see, that was about shoulder to shoulder. about 180 degrees that humans can see with their peripheral, okay? So do you think that maybe we should try this on Duncan? See what he likes? But I'm kind of worried he's not going to like it very much because he's a little bit scared. But it's for science, so let's do it anyways. All right, Duncan. I'm going to ask you to let me know when you can see this coming around you.
Okay. I don't know how I feel about this.
All right, well, here we go anyways. Oh! Okay, let's try the other side. Okay, well, that was quite early there. You could see pretty far, I guess. As you might be able to see up there, that circle, deer can see around 300 degrees around their head. So there's just a small portion of the back, about 60, 65 degrees that they can't see. And of course, all they need to do is turn their head really quick. And this helps them keep their eyes out for predators at all times. Now, just because they can see all around them doesn't mean that they necessarily have the clearest vision. On average, humans generally have, well, the average human, I guess, 20/20 vision, let's say. Deer, they actually have 20/40 vision, meaning that they could see with clarity about half as good as a person with 20/20 vision. And so this isn't really important, though. They don't need super clear vision because all they need to know is that something's coming for them and they need to run. Now, has anyone ever seen this while they're driving along the road, something at night? Yes? All right, well, for those of you who haven't, this is not a deer with laser vision. Don't worry, it's not going to hurt you. That is simply the tapetum lucidum. Big word. I think that's going to go in our big word section. All right, so the tapetum lucidum is a fancy word, science word, for little spots in the back of their eyes that are reflectors. So they reflect light really well. That's why you see this looking like a laser-eyed deer. And that enables it to see better at night. Deer have better night vision than we do. So with less light around, maybe with just some stars or the moonlight, they can see fairly well because of that tapetum lucidum at the back of their head. So they can see pretty well, but they can also hear very well. So these deer, they are able to use those big ears, and they can pivot them. Our ears stay the same, right? But these deer, they can pivot side to side. They hear sound over there, they hear sound over there, and right in the center, both ears come into the center like that. So they're able to pinpoint exactly where the sound is coming from. So if to see just how good those big ears are, I want everybody to cup their hands around your ears like this. And as I'm talking, you can lower them down and bring them back up, and lower them down and bring them back up, and just see if that changes how the sound is coming from me. You should probably hear quite a bit more sound when you cup your ears, and that's just how these big-eared deer work. So we're all going to pretend we're deer for a second, and in one moment I'm going to turn off my mic. You're going to cup your ears and close your eyes. And then I'm going to run somewhere in the amphitheater, and with your eyes still closed, I'm going to make a noise, and you have to point to me, okay? And then you can open them, see how good you were. But keep your eyes closed until I say otherwise, all right? Okay, close your eyes. All right, where am I? Okay, now open your eyes. Are you pointing in the right direction?
Yes.
Any of you? Good, very good. All right, let's try it again. Close your eyes, cup your ears. All right, where am I? All right, open your eyes. Very good job. Looks like you'd all be very good deer if you were constantly cupping your hands like this. All right, well, Duncan, you see, if a predator comes running you just can hear them. You can see them coming. So you don't have to be afraid.
Yeah, well, what does it matter if I can see and hear them? All that's gonna help me do is watch them eat me and hear them biting me. Ah! Ah! That is utterly terrifying, Dr. Dolots.
Okay, you raise a good point. That would be scary. But you know what? All you have to do is run away.
What? With these spindly toothpick arms?
Yeah, actually, that's exactly what's going to help you, and I'll explain that. All right, so I have this right here. Can anyone guess what it is? What it is that I'm holding right now? Feet, leg. What about you? Leg. Over there. Striped shirt. No. All right, I heard a hoof over there. The back. Hoof. Okay. Maybe one more. Blue shirt, second row. Thigh. Okay. All right. So I heard a few good answers, and I actually heard one person say the right answer. Who said foot? You? Well, that's exactly right. So this might look like a deer leg or something, but this is actually just the foot of a deer. Yeah. Now, deer don't walk around like this, right? That would be weird. I would not want to see a deer walk around like that. So actually, deer are standing on their fingernails or their toenails like this. So their hooves are made out of keratin, which is the same material as our fingernails. And so this foot here, yeah, goes right there on our X-ray here. And so every bone in this deer's leg corresponds to a bone in our own leg. So you can see this here, that's the foot. Right here is kind of like our heel. This is the tibia, this bone, and the femur, this bone here. And same with the front, but with our arms. So all is different about this is that they are standing on their tippy toes, or even farther than their tippy toes, right on their nails. So this is different than us. We walk with our heels on the ground, right? And then predators like wolves and cougars, coyotes, they needed a little bit extra speed. They wanted to lengthen their legs. So they went up onto their toes, okay? And they run like this. And that gets them pretty far. They can run pretty fast. But then herbivores and some animals like deer, they wanted a little bit extra on top of those predators. And so they went up onto their toenails. And that enables them to run very, very fast. Now, in 1 second, I have a video, and this is a special way that mule deer specifically, not even other deer, mule deer, they have a special method to get away from predators, and this is called bounding. So when they do this, they lift up all 4 legs off the ground at once, and they jump along like this. And that helps them to get over obstacles really easily, up hills, and really get away from those predators well. So I'll play this video for you, and you can take a look. Boing, 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 boing. All right, so you might see a deer in this park running away like that. That's how they escape often. Now, jumping like that, that's not necessarily faster than running. It's actually not faster than running. It's only faster when you're trying to get over an obstacle or something like that. So can I have another volunteer in the tie-dye shirt right there? Thank you. And you can come and help. You can race me, all right? So we're going to meet over here. And so for this race, we're going to try to race to the end of the stage. And I'm going to be jumping, and you're going to be running, all right? Okay, can the audience count us down from 3?
3, 2, 1.
Oh, I think you beat me. All right. Well, let's try something else. You come back this way. Let's start even right here, okay? Okay, so this time, we're going to race onto the stage. I'm going to jump, but you have to run and take the stairs, all right? But you're going to be careful, all right? You don't want to trip over the stairs, all right? Can the audience count us down?
3, 2, 1.
Oh, looks like I beat you. Well, very good job. 50-50, we each won one. You can take a seat. Give a round of applause. So as you can see, there are some advantages and disadvantages to jumping. I was able to hop up onto this stage quicker than a predator if they were running, but a little bit slower on flat ground. So mule deer, they can decide which one they do, actually. They don't always jump, they also run. And when they do run, they can run at speeds up to 70 kilometers per hour. Pretty cool. And not only can they run, but they can also jump really high. They can, say if they're running along flat ground, they can jump over about 8 feet, actually. So that's about this tall from the stage to my hand. And that's if they're running. They could run and jump right over me. And then if they're just standing still, they can jump about 3 feet in the air. It doesn't seem as high, it's about there, but still pretty good. I can't jump 3 feet in the air from standing. Now, if they're going downhill, they can jump 28 feet. So I'm going to need one more volunteer. Another one. Right there. You're Duncan, right? Okay, fantastic. You just sit down there. Wow, what an honor to have the same name as Duncan the deer. All right, so you're going to hold on to the end of that rope right there and walk over there to the dirt. And we'll pull this tight, all right? So this right here, this is 28 feet. This is how far a deer could jump downhill. Take a look at that. Imagine it flying down there. All right, thank you. Duncan, you can take a seat. Or, audience member, round of applause. Thank you. You two can get a prize. All right, so, you know, I don't know how impressive that is. I think that if I was jumping down a steep hill, I think I could clear 28 feet as well. But I just might hurt a little bit after that. I'm not sure how I could catch myself. So that shows that deer are kind of strong, and they have springy legs, so they can jump 28 feet and land and continue to run. Not like me. Anyways, so we know that deer, they can jump, they can run, do all sorts of things. Does anyone think that deer are able to swim very well? Any ideas? Yes, no, what's that? Hands at the back? You think yes? Yes? You right there? No, you don't think so? Okay, so we have some yeses, some nos. All right, but I'm going to show you a video of the deer swimming in the ocean. This is actually off of Victoria on Vancouver Island. Oops. There we go. The deer is right there. Pretty cool. So deer, they're actually very good swimmers. Part of this is because of their fur, or their hair. They are able to float really well because each of those hairs is hollow and has air inside. And so that acts like a natural life jacket to keep these deer afloat. And then they just fling their legs really fast at 70 kilometers per hour, and then they move. Not at 70 kilometers in the water, that would be terrifying. But they are able to swim, and pretty well. Well, Duncan, if you see a predator or a hunter coming, you can just run away.
Well, I guess that's right. That's a good point, Dr. Dolots. Well, okay, well, I think that a hunter or a predator is bound to catch me at some point, okay? I'm not always going to get away.
Okay, that's true, but I haven't talked about your antlers yet.
What? These good-for-nothing bones on my head?
That's right, they're good for something. Okay, so like I said, Duncan the deer has an antler like this. It's bifurcated, meaning it forks like as it grows. And so the antlers, they are an extension of the skull. They are made out of bone, and that's different than horns. You might have heard of horns, and they actually stay on the animal their whole life. They continue to grow bigger and bigger every year. But antlers are different because they fall off every year. They regrow them as well. So in the spring, beginning of spring, they start to grow, and they're covered in this little fuzzy velvet. It's called velvet. It's a fuzzy skin on the antler. And at first, it's not made out of bone entirely. It's kind of a mix of things. Some cartilage, some blood vessels, nerve cells, bone, lots of different stuff like that. And so they're continuing to grow. And they, in the summer, their peak growing season, they can grow up to ½ an inch every day. And so if you grew that fast, if your bones were that good at growing, you would be 3 feet taller by the end of the summer and probably have some serious growing pains. So definitely, probably a good thing we don't grow that fast, our bones. So these antlers, they grow out of things called pedicles, and those are kind of like little spots on their head where they can, those antlers grow out of. There we go. And on those pedicles are an abundance of stem cells. And stem cells are special because they can turn into any cell in the body. We have lots of them as well, and you can think of those stem cells are named that way because other cells stem from them. Lots of different things could come. So that's really important. Those antlers, they can continue to grow. See step 1, then 2, and then 3 here. You can see them shedding the velvet off of their heads or off of their antlers. It's a little bit bloody, kind of looks a little gross, but it's not hurting the deer. This is what they do every year. And at this point, their antlers are completely ossified. And ossified means that they've completely turned to bone. That's just another science word. So in the fall, these deer, the male deer, they have these big antlers. Oh boy, it's windy today. So these male deer, they have these big antlers, and they use these to fight for the females. So if there's a big deer with big antlers, it will fight another one, and the weaker, smaller one generally doesn't get first choice. But then it can find another male that's maybe smaller than it and fight. And so eventually, you know, everybody's happy. They all find a partner. Well, maybe, maybe not all of them. But anyways, most of them are happy. And so they carry on, and then winter comes along, and they drop their antlers. And so that's so that they don't have to lug them around in the snow and get stuck or something. Must be hard to run from predators in the snow with big antlers on your heads. And so they don't only use these for finding mates and stuff, they also use them for defense. So if a predator is coming, they can stick their heads down and push and flip them over and all sorts of things. So pretty dangerous, I'd say. Oops, there we go. See, Duncan, those spindly things on your head, those good-for-nothing bones, they are good for something, and that's for, well, finding yourself a mate, as well as predators, getting away from predators, defense, and all that.
Well, yeah. I think this is starting to sound hopeful. You're right, Dr. Dolots. Wait, I have one more question.
Okay, go ahead, Duncan. What's that?
If I'm supposed to be all big, strong, all sorts of things like this, where do I get all my energy from? All I eat is plants.
Okay, well, that's a good point. And, well, I have an answer for you. So deer, they are, deer are browsers, meaning that they walk around the forest and eat vegetation like from trees, little leaves, branches, clipping little shrubs or plants on the ground, sometimes flowers, things like that. And they have a skull like this. You can notice at the front, the bottom jaw, they have these chisel-like teeth to clip those branches. And at the top, their upper jaw, they don't actually have any of those teeth. And that is because their upper palate is like a hard cutting board. So those teeth just clip like that, cutting those leaves and twigs and everything. Then once they are all clipped away, they go to the back of their mouth here. And these are called selenodont teeth. This is a fancy word meaning crescent-shaped or moon-shaped teeth, but you can't really see how they're shaped there. They are used for grinding materials. So all that plants and stuff, they just grind that away down to a pulp. Now, you might be wondering, it's probably pretty hard to digest all that plant material, twigs, leaves, all such sort of things. I don't think that we'd like to do that. So deer are actually called ruminants, and that means that they have, well, this rumen here to hold a bunch of stuff, and it means they have 4 stomachs as well. Different than us, we only have 1 stomach. And so I'll go through those stomachs with you. I find it pretty fascinating. So the first stomach, as this deer is walking along through the forest, it's got its head down, and eating is a vulnerable position to be in, right? Because your focus is on these leaves and all sorts of stuff. And so you want to pack back as much as you can and get out of there. So they eat and eat and eat and eat, and it travels down the esophagus into the first stomach, the rumen. And that is called the rumen because there's lots of room in it, as you can see. Not actually, that's not scientific, but there is lots of room in it. And that's where it stores all this food. And then it goes to some other place where it's safer and they can digest that food. So when it's time, when they feel safe, they regurgitate it, back up their esophagus, into their mouth once more. And they chew it again, and that's called cud. That stuff that's in their mouth, they're chewing it again. And then they swallow it back down the esophagus into the reticulum. This blue stomach here. And that is a special stomach because it helps them actually digest the plants, the part of the plants that we can't digest as humans. This is because plants have a compound called cellulose, and that is, well, we can't digest it, and deer can't digest it without the help of tiny little creatures called microorganisms. And so that stomach, the reticulum, is packed full of microorganisms that digest the cellulose for them. So it's a little bit of a good relationship there between the two creatures. And after it's all mushed up, digested well, out the esophagus again, into its mouth. Yeah, and it chews it again. So that's 3 times chewing. 1 when it puts it in its mouth, 2 after it regurgitates it, and 3 after it comes up from the reticulum again. Don't worry, all this chewing is over, and they swallow it back down, and it goes into the omasum. And this is where it sucks up all the extra water that comes from the plants and everything. It sucks that up and it's used elsewhere in the body to hydrate and all that. And then it travels to the abomasum. And this is the most like our stomach. It's full of stomach acid and all sorts of stomach acid. It's pretty acidic and breaks down that material very well. And that is the last stop before the intestines. And the intestines is where it absorbs all the nutrients that it has collected. So it travels throughout here. And in order to absorb as much nutrients as possible, it needs to be pretty long. So I have this rope, remember this? And I have another volunteer that would like to help with this. All right, let's see, lots of people. Right there in the front. Okay, so you can hold this piece of the rope, run back over there just like last time. Fantastic. And we'll pull it tight. And to this tape here, that's 28 feet, right? As far as a deer can jump, but also as long as their intestines are. So very, very long, able to suck up all that nutrients. Now we're just going to move in here a little bit. I thought for fun, I would include how long our intestines are as humans. And that's between 16 feet and 20 feet, somewhere in between there, depending on who you are. So all that is wound up inside of each of our stomachs as well. So intestines, pretty long and very important. Thank you for your help. You can take a seat and you can get a prize at the end as well. Round of applause. So that is all for digestion. However, I still have one more cool thing that I want to talk about. Not digestion related, but it's a secret way of communication. So deer, they make the usual animal grunts and groans and all sorts of things that deer make. But what's really cool is they secrete pheromones. So pheromones is another big word, and it means, it's a word for chemicals or something that smells that is released from an animal to change the behavior of another animal. So these deer, in between their toes, they have a little gland that as they're walking, they're releasing the scent, these pheromones, and that shows the other deer that are following where they went. So it's like a travel marker sort of thing. And they also have a couple other ones. One of them is an alarm scent that they release when there's a predator or some threat in the area, so the other deer know to scatter. And they also have a mutual recognition scent. So during the rut season, there's all these deer walking around. So when they see one another, they emit this scent, and it's like, hey there, I see you. So that is their pheromones, secret way of communicating, and I think that is pretty cool. All right, Duncan. Well, we've talked about your eyes, your ears, your antlers, your running, even your digestive system. I think that is pretty fantastic.
Yeah, you know what? I think you're right. I think deer are pretty cool. Deer are strong. I love being a deer.
Well, and so you should. So you know what, Duncan, as you go about your life, lots of people are going to say negative things to you. Lots of animals are going to say negative things to you too. And you just got to stay positive and know that you are strong, dear friend.
Wow. Well, thanks for that. Well, is it time for me to go yet?
Yes, but one more thing. I actually have a receipt for you, a receipt. Payable at the front desk. You walk over there. $437 for today's visit.
I wasn't prepared for that. I did not know it was that costly.
Yeah, well, I'm just joking. I'm just pulling your leg. Don't worry, Duncan. Today's on me. You can go home in peace.
Oh, thanks so much, Dr. Dolots. You've been so helpful.
Yep, well, farewell, Duncan. I hope you have a good life.
One more thing.
Okay, fine.
I'll give you $1 if you carry me to my car.
All right, sounds good for $1. I'd take that. Well, everybody say goodbye to Duncan.
Bye, Duncan. Bye, Duncan.
Bye, everyone. See you all later.
And as for me, Dr. Dolots, I have some other clients to get to. And so I'm going to head out, but I'm sure that my friend Josh will come say goodbye to you one last time. Hello, everyone. Hope you enjoyed your visit with Dr. Dolots. I wouldn't know. I wasn't around. I used the washroom. But I hope that you enjoyed it. I have a few things first before you go. One of them is to remind you of our Lantern Festival tomorrow. We talked a bit about that at the beginning. you know about that, that's fantastic. Ooh, that's good. You got a good dad and mom. So a few things to note. Tomorrow morning from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., we're going to be at the Lightning Lake Day Use area. And that is where you can build... Fantastic! Make sure you don't waste any of those emissions. Save the forest, ride your bicycle. 10 to 3, we're making lanterns, and we'll have all the things... That's really cool. That's fantastic. We're going to be making lanterns from 10 to 3. Have all the stuff there that you need. To buy a lantern kit, it is one for $23, two for $35, or three for $50. We have all the material there you can make. And then we're going to be returning to, different spot, the Spruce Bay Beach over here. At 9:30 p.m., we're going to be releasing those into the water. But you're going to want to be there a bit early with your lanterns so that we can all be there on time. Maybe a bit before then. And we also have glow jewelry for sale at the beach when you get there. You can buy that if you like. That goes back into our programs to make these run. There's no speedboats, but there's canoes that will bring all your lanterns back to shore. So if you want to do this, then you can definitely join us. But just to clarify, these kits, they're not to bring back to your campsite. We just have all the materials at the beach, so you have to build them with us there. Now I also have to count you all. To keep track of everything, so if you could all remain seated for one moment, and I'll be brief about it.